Growing a business is kind of tricky right now. Supply chains are squeezed, tariffs and trade policies are dynamic, and cash flow, it's tighter than ever. You need clarity to come out on top. Without it, you risk falling behind. If only you could hop in the DeLorean and see the future, right? Thankfully, there's NetSuite by Oracle. NetSuite has real-time forecasting to help you move ahead with confidence. This is your AI-powered business management suite and the #1 cloud ERP. Trusted by over 42,000 businesses, NetSuite brings accounting, financial management, inventory, and HR all under one roof. It's your single source of truth, giving you the data and control you need to move quickly. And with AI built in, you can automate the busy work and focus on strategy. NetSuite helps you see what's stuck, what it's costing you, and how to pivot fast. If I were running a business with a lot of moving parts, I'd use NetSuite for full control over everything. Tame the chaos with NetSuite. If your revenues are at least in 7 figures, download the free ebook, Navigating Global Trade, 3 Insights for Leaders at netsuite.com/SPI. That's netsuite.com/SPI. Congrats, your business is doing great. All your hard work is paying off, but you need help like now, and you have to hire fast. How can you hire amazing candidates quickly? Easy, just use Indeed. When it comes to hiring, Indeed is all you need. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. Indeed sponsored jobs help you stand out and hire fast. And with sponsored jobs, your posts jump to the top of the page for your relevant candidates so you can reach people you want faster. And it makes a huge difference. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. One of the things I love most about Indeed is that it has one of the largest databases of job seekers, giving employers access to a wide range of candidates. And with job alerts, I get notified when new candidates apply. And with Indeed sponsored jobs, there's no monthly subscriptions, no long-term contracts, and you only pay for results. So how fast? Well, in the minute that I've been talking to you, 23 hires were made on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. There's no need to wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/smartpassive. Just go to Indeed.com/smartpassive right now and support a show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/smartpassive. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring, Indeed, is all you need. The perfect product launch. It's the goal for every brand marketer. High heat, fast sellout, and fans posting recipes like trophies. What do Sydney Sweeney's soap drop, Taylor Swift's tickets, and your next launch have in common? Well, they're not bought, they're bragged about. Fanfare turns your drop into a moment. Fanfare cues real fans, blocks bots, and builds launch experiences worth screenshotting. Want hype without the heartbreak? Get Fanfare's 5-step hype drop playbook with our proven success formula and make your next launch unforgettable at fanfare.io/playbook. Again, fanfare.io/playbook. This is a Smart Passive Income Podcast with Pat Flynn, session number 40. Hakuna Matata.
Welcome to the Smart Passive Income Podcast, where it's all about working hard now so you can sit back and reap the benefits later. And now your host, his favorite video game is Oregon Trail, Pat Flynn.
Still using a copy-paste website? Break the template trap with Framer. Whether you're overwhelmed by traditional site builders or frustrated with cookie-cutter designs, Framer gives you the freedom to create a site that's professional, polished, and uniquely yours. Framer is the design-first, no-code website builder that lets anyone ship a production-ready site in minutes. It's free to start, allowing you to browse hundreds of pixel-perfect templates or even design something on your own on a totally blank canvas. Add bold animations like appear effects, text effects, parallax scrolling, scroll animations, looping animations, and much more in seconds. The built-in AI handles the heavy lifting, generating starter layouts, and can even translate your entire site to any language. Ready to build a site that looks hand-coded without hiring a developer? Launch your site for free at framer.com and use code SPI to get your first month of pro on the house. That's framer.com, promo code SPI. Framer.com, promo code SPI. Rules and restrictions may apply. Hiring shouldn't be a hassle or a drain on your budget. Upwork is your one-stop shop to find, hire, and pay top freelance talent, saving you time and keeping costs in check all in one place. Companies at every stage turn to Upwork to get things done and find more flexibility in the way that they staff key projects and initiatives by assessing a global marketplace filled with top talent in IT, web development, AI, design, administration support, marketing, and more. And I've personally used them myself and can vouch for them. Posting a job on Upwork is easy. With no cost to join, you can register, browse freelancer profiles, get help drafting a job post, or even book a consultation. From there, you connect with freelancers that get you and can easily hire them to take your business to the next level. Upwork makes the entire process easier, simpler, and more affordable with industry-low fees. Post a job today and hire tomorrow with Upwork. Visit Upwork.com right now and post your job for free. That is Upwork.com to post your job for free and connect with top talent ready to help your business grow. That's UPWORK.com, Upwork.com. Go there now. Yeah, Oregon Trail. That was an awesome game. I actually used to play that back in 3rd and 4th grade on the computer with a 5 1/4 inch floppy disk. Man, it's just crazy how times have changed. And I've actually never beaten that game either, which is maybe why I loved it so much. So, hey, what's up? This is Pat Flynn, and welcome to session number 40, the Big 4-0. And I just got back from Blog World Expo 2012 in New York a couple days ago, and I'm finally starting to get back into the swing of things. For a good 3 weeks, all I was doing was prepping my presentations, staying up till 2 or 3 in the morning, rehearsing, watching other presentations, trying to pick up on things here and there. That's just how I roll, and I'm happy to say that it all paid off. The presentations went without a hitch, mostly. I mean, I'll tell you more about some interesting things that happened in the next session, which will be a recording of my solo presentation called Affiliate Marketing the Smart Way. Plus, I'll be recapping some of the events and interesting things that happened during the week, who I hung out with, what I learned, and all that great stuff. But for today, I have another success story to share with you, this time with a man who manages a site, a news site, actually, that gets up to 5 million page views a month. And no, it's not in the gossip industry, but, let's check it out. So let's just dive right into it and get into the interview with Fraser Cain from universetoday.com. Enjoy. Hey everyone, I'm happy to have another success story interview to share with you today. On the line with us is Fraser Cain, who has definitely on a very, very interesting story. He has a niche that's way outside of the make money online sort of blogging space, and I guess you could say it's way out of this world too. Fraser, thank you so much for joining us today.
Well, thanks for having me, Pat.
So let me ask you, and for everyone listening out there, what is your business and how did you get started?
Sure. So my website is called Universe Today, and it is a space and astronomy news website that it has peaked about 5 million page views a month. I've got about 70,000 RSS subscribers, big mailing list, all the numbers that that you guys all talk about.
5 million page views.
Yeah. About 3.5 million unique visitors a month sometimes.
Wow. Keep going.
Oh, more? You want to hear more? Numbers? And it's monetized entirely by AdSense and has done very well. Yeah, I have a team at various times. It rises and falls over the course of the year with how people are doing research and education and things like that. I've had upwards of 15 people on my team writing. We're reporting. I'm a publisher.
Right. So tell us how it got started. Did you start with 15 publishers or?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, no, I started from birth with a huge team. No, sort of about 12 years ago or so. I mean, I've been doing the internet development right from the beginning, essentially back in 94, 95. And I joined a web development firm out of Vancouver called Communicate.com. And we were creating websites for our clients. I had a lot of bank customers and things like that. Mm-hmm. And I was giving all this advice to my clients, but I didn't really have any direct experience in running a website on my own. And so the advice that I was giving was very theoretical and not real practical. And so I decided I was going to take one of my hobbies and just create a hobby website on the side. And then that would, in theory, teach me a whole bunch of lessons about what it means to run a website. And I have a whole bunch of interests, video games and role-playing games and technology and one of them has been space. I've been an amateur astronomer since I was a kid. I've been looking through books about space and astronomy. And so I just decided I was going to pick that as a site to just maintain. And it would help me teach me a little more about this thing that I was interested in. And at the same time, it would teach me a lot more about how to be able to provide better information to my clients. And, when you work on something that you really enjoy, that's kind of you're passionate about, it takes on this life of its own. Now, I was able to come back and within weeks had immense new information, the practical information that I could give to my clients. But I think the biggest lesson I was learning was I kind of want to do this full time. I don't want to be helping clients out anymore. I want to publish a space news website. Mm-hmm. And, but, obviously you start out with nothing and you have to build it up bit by bit by bit, writing articles, building a following. Took a long time, probably took 5, 6, 7 years before the income on the site had gotten to the point that I was able to actually go full time.
Right. I mean, and that's a long time. And I think that's for a lot of people, they don't want to put in that amount of time to get to that point.
Well, that's great. Yeah. If you don't, then by all means, do it quicker. That's how long it took me.
Yeah. I mean, it takes a long time, especially for a news site. I mean, I'd be interested to understand kind of your thinking about why your site is starting to take off so well, and especially in the new. I know there's a lot of kind of space websites out there. Why are people coming to your site? How are they finding you?
Well, so I'm really good at SEO.
Okay,
is the bottom line.
I'd love to pick your brain up about that.
Sure, yeah, absolutely. And so, up until about 3 years ago or so, we were doing pretty well, and I had been full time for a couple of years, and the traffic was maybe 1 million visitors a month, 1 million, 1.5 million page views a month, and it was all social. And so it was from my RSS subscribers, it was from my email distribution list, it was from the various kinds of social stuff that existed before then, forums and things like that, but not a lot of search engine traffic. I was maybe getting about 1,500 search visitors a day. And so I was driving in the car with my daughter, and she asked me, "What's the biggest star in the universe?" And I actually didn't know the answer to that question. And so I said, "Well, I'll look it up and I'll write an article and research it, and then I'll tell you, and I'll tell my audience as well." And turns out it's VY Canis Majoris, which is 1,800 times the size of the sun. And it was a really cool article and really interesting information. And so I put it up on my website. And now anyone who's in the kind of blogging, journalism business knows this cycle that it's a machine that you always have to feed it. You're constantly having to feed it just news and news and news, and the readers show up and they consume your news and then they go away again. But when I had accidentally targeted a keyword, essentially that there is an evergreen group out there that will always be searching to find out what is the biggest star in the universe, that I suddenly was getting 300, 400, 500 visitors a day to my website.
Just for that particular article.
Just that one particular article. And I'm sure you've seen this on your website too. And I'm sure a lot of the webmasters out there are nodding and thinking about the articles that have had that same kind of thing. And so for me, it was about what was the secret sauce there? What was going on? Why was that article happening? And it was sort of a blend of my personal authority, the website's authority, the quality of the information, and how often I add content. So there was a lot of these pieces of the puzzle. And so the reality was, it opened up my mind to the idea that not just about, I don't have to just write about news. I can also add the kinds of information that's evergreen that people in my niche are going to be looking for, and that will help bring in regular search traffic that I can then use for all of the regular methods. And so it's just this multiplier. You get all the search traffic in, and then you're able to get these people to subscribe to your RSS feed, and you're able to get them to like you on Facebook and Twitter and all that kind of stuff. And it all just multiplies. And so for me, over time, I've just added a lot of information that is relevant to the kinds of stuff that people are going to search for, in addition to what I think is as good news coverage as we can possibly provide with the team that we have. So
you're kind of combining news and kind of your feeling about what's hot in the industry or the field, along with actual keyword research data?
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly it. And, some of it is very static. Why is Pluto not a planet, and how long does it take to get to the moon? Things like that. Mm-hmm. But some of it is also very fresh. I mean, you want to use the keyword research as these events are unfolding. And so SEO plays this role whenever there's the name of a new hurricane, or whenever there is some new big event, like if you remember when Bigfoot was discovered on Mars. It wasn't real, it was just a rock, but a lot of people were searching for Bigfoot on Mars. Well, that's an opportunity for us to jump in there and knowing how people are going to be crafting their search queries, we can create a series of articles that cover this in a way that we can get a lot of that search traffic. And so it's using these experiences to then inform the new content as we create it. And yeah, it's been very, very effective.
Right. Great stuff. And I think that just shows the importance of kind of just being on top of it in your industry and just understanding kind of what's going on and looking for opportunities like that to write posts about.
There's patterns, right? I mean, we know that every time come mid-August, people are going to be searching for the Perseid meteor shower. And so we prepare our information long in advance. We've got an editorial schedule. And when that event rolls around, we make sure that we do a full court press, and we've got great information on our website that gives people everything that they need to know about this meteor shower. And every year we see a huge number of people searching for the meteor shower, and lo and behold, they come to our website.
Yeah, no, that's great. And I think anyone with a news site, and I know there's a lot of people in my audience who have news sites that are kind of struggling with sort of the content that they should write or how to get it to go viral. I think that's a very, very smart strategy to kind of notice the patterns in your industry. And it's going to be different for every industry.
Yeah,
obviously.
Absolutely.
Now, I want to rewind a little bit. Back before you started getting into SEO and stuff, and you said even before SEO optimization happened, you were getting 1 million page views a month. Like, how did that happen? How did you get to that point?
Well, I think I made a couple of really lucky decisions very early on. And one of the first decisions that I made was that I was going to form the backbone of my entire service was going to be an email mailing list. And like literally in 1999, I started to gather an email mailing list. Wow. And so with every interaction that I had with people, I was always thinking, get this person on my mailing list, get them on my mailing list. And over the years, it just adds up and adds up and adds up. And so every time I sent out my newsletter, I was sending it out once a day, and I had 10, 20,000 people who were subscribed to the newsletter. And that is one of the biggest things, because then that has this multiplying effect. Mm-hmm. You send out the newsletter, these people will receive it in their inbox, they click on it. Many of them are bloggers, they link to it, they report on it, they use it and incorporate it into other places, and everything just gets this building and building process like a snowball. And so I think that was the thing that I did that was really fortunate. I think the other thing that I did really early on that was really fortunate was I treated the people in the industry in a very as a community. Even though there was starting to be people who were my competitors, I reached out to them all right away as they kind of come on the scene and, connect with them and help them out just right from day one. And it's amazing how many of these people have just progressed and they've become very established and very recognized bloggers in their own right. And it's great to have all these friendships. And so I can rely on this huge network of people, this community, whenever I want to do something. I might write an article and Alan Boyle over at MSNBC is going to pick it up. And I even have people at NASA who sometimes pick some of the articles up. So, really cool. For a lot of people who are kind of like, oh, I wish I could get links from NASA. They have a PR9, it's totally possible. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was never my intention. I never even, again, I was doing this before Google even existed. So the concept of links and the value of links and any of that didn't matter. It was just about the value of community.
Yeah, and that's what's always going to last. All throughout time.
Yeah,
anything can change. Google can go away, Facebook, whatever. But it's a community that you're setting up that's always going to be there for you, and that's how you're going to grow your business and keep it there long term. Yeah,
your email address and your reputation will follow you to the grave.
Yeah.
And that's just so, if you've got an email list, you can always reach out to people. And if you've got a good reputation and a lot of good friends, then you can always get their help.
Absolutely. And one thing I want to cover really quick that you mentioned before was the importance of your email list. And in the industry that I'm in, we always talk about how important the email list is, but mostly because it's a great way to make money and to sell to people. Now, I take a different stance, and I don't sell people on my email list. I get them to learn more about me or to just read more of my content, and also bring them back to my website. And you made a great point that you're constantly bringing people from your email list back to your website, and that's how you're driving traffic to your website from your existing audience. And I think that's really important because that's something that's very underrated, is the idea of using your email list to just get returning traffic back to your site, which can have a number of different effects, not just those single people visiting and coming back to your website, but also the fact that they're going to be there and see those share buttons and read the articles and be inspired by them, and then also share it with their people and their friends and followers. So I'm really glad you said that.
Yeah, I personally don't see my email list as a sales tool. And I know that a lot of people, when they hear that I have, 70,000 RSS subscribers, they're calculating in their mind what that would be worth as an email list. But the reality is that the only reason that I have a large number of people that subscribe is because I try to put as much value into the email itself. And every time you try to sell, it's like a bank account, and you're thinking about yourself. You're like, what's in it for me? Mm-hmm. Now, if you can align everything together where you're promoting something that's really going to help people out and it's able to make you money as well, then that's all fantastic. But I think a lot of people, they put more emphasis on what's in it for them instead of what's in it for the reader.
Right, absolutely. And then the other thing you followed up with was the importance of relationships and building relationships, even with people who may be seen as competitors. And that's something that a buddy, Corbett Barr from thinktraffic.net, and I have discussed many times on the podcast and on videos before.
Me too. Corbett and I talk quite a bit too. And
yeah, I mean, it's just the fact that, you never know how big some of these people are going to grow. So that's why connecting with even the B and C listers and some of the people, like you said, who just are starting to come into the same field as you, and befriending them, that can turn into a very, very important relationship. And then that way they're not going to see you as a competitor either, but also as a colleague, and then you'll just help each other out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now let's talk about income really quick. At the beginning you mentioned that you are only using AdSense to generate an income on the site. So let me ask you first question, which I know everyone's dying to know: how much are you making exactly from this website?
Sure. So the biggest month that I've ever had was about $24,000 from AdSense.
$24,000 from
space.
From
talking
space.
About space, yes.
Ridiculous. That's crazy. Now, has it been pretty consistent, or kind of does it fluctuate?
It absolutely fluctuates. So I gave you the biggest number, and part of the problem is that I have it's a very cyclical thing. So it drops to a fraction of that over the summer. So that's sort of like the highest point during season, during finals and things like that, when a lot of people are looking for research, and also, recently, I've actually had to scale back the advertising on the website because I've been a little nervous about there was a algorithm update that was posted back in January by Google saying we're going to come after people who are have a lot of ads and stuff above the fold. And I absolutely had a very aggressive AdSense placement. And, it recommended to me by my AdSense advisor, but
wow,
I've
really?
decided, they've got these two arms that don't really talk to each other, but, so I've sort of, voluntarily made that much less distinct, and so it's sort of reduced the income significantly, which is kind of painful, but at the same time it's more about the long term than the short term. And of course I have a very big team of people. I've got 3 full-time people plus a lot of freelance people who work with me. So there's a lot of mouths to feed on that revenue. Right.
Absolutely. Understandable. Now, have you explored any other options as far as generating an income in addition to AdSense?
Yeah, absolutely. And, there's ideas about creating a membership version of the site and selling some of the photographs and artwork that's featured on the site, and writing books and creating apps. And there's definitely a lot of that. I mean, actually, my efforts have been really focused on actually the software that I use to manage the website itself, and this is this software called Keyword Strategy, and so and that's been the primarily the effort, and that's sort of the whole second business is essentially I target 30,000 keywords on my website, mm-hmm. and that's complicated and requires a very big database, and so we've created this database on the side that lets people do the same thing. If you want to follow my methods, we've created a tool that lets anyone do that. So I could absolutely monetize the site in other ways, but I'm sort of focusing my efforts on this other business as well.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, it's great to focus on one thing at a time. You don't want to spread yourself too thin. And, maybe we could talk in the future about what do you say, Qbert strategy?
It's Qbert strategy. Yeah. Yeah.
Very cool. Now, about your site and the design of it, you are on WordPress. Is that correct?
Yeah. I'm using WordPress and I'm using the Thesis theme.
Yeah, I could see that when I go to your site. Now, it's very out of the box the way you use Thesis. There aren't too many customizations to your site as far as the design. It looks very Thesis out of the box with just the header with your. Now, have you thought about changing the design at all? Or obviously, and the whole point of me bringing this up is that the design, it has to be functional in order for it to be successful, but it doesn't have to be fancy. It doesn't have to be amazing. I mean, it helps if it's amazing, but there's a line that you can cross where it becomes too amazing and it starts to detract from.
Well, yeah, it's not necessarily about the design. I mean, it's about maintenance and management. And so, I've been doing this long enough, and I've probably gone through 15 different redesigns of my website, from the original HTML to a better version of the HTML using server-side includes to an old content management system called Article Manager, and then WordPress. And so I've moved through all these iterations, and then moving to something, various themes, and moving to Thesis. And what I've really learned is that many things out there make your website a lot more fragile. So when you have really complicated JavaScript implementations and CSS and you're running a lot of plugins and all that kind of stuff, that things break in unpredictable ways. And the more you hack, the more you have to drag along these hacks from version to version. And I just got to the point where I was just completely sick of having to try and maintain this stuff from version to version and try to just keep it all limping along. And so I've gone, and Thesis is perfect because you can't actually mess with the CSS and really break it. That WordPress is what it is. Thesis is a framework that sits on top of it. You can customize it with some menu options, but you don't try to get in and really muck with the code. And that has just been this guiding principle that has gotten me to the point now where I finally don't have to constantly be babysitting my web server. And, because it's a ton of traffic. I get spikes. I'll get spikes from Dig or Stumble Upon or Slashdot, and I'll be seeing 20, 30,000 visitors in an hour. And so the website's got to be able to withstand that. And the more complicated, you might think it's really cool that you've got this great little picture viewer, but under the hammering that can take with a lot of people, it turns out, your site can't handle it. And I'd much rather just the site always be up. So yeah, it's about simplicity. It's just about me not having to think about that aspect of it. I don't care if it doesn't look super fantastic. I like the header. It's kind of cute. And I like big pictures on the site, but beyond that, it's really simple.
Yeah. I mean, I think keeping it simple is a good point. And a lot of people, before they even start to generate content for their new site, they'll try to make their site look as incredible, and they're just wasting time, in my opinion. I always say you should work on the business first before you create the business card.
I love it. That's the same advice I give. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's great. So it's really cool to hear that you're using Thesis like I am. And I think it's important for people to understand that you should really work hard to get to a point where you can just kind of walk away from the whole designing the site thing and trying to upkeep it. It was at that point in my life with my first site, greenexamacademy.com, when I was just done with the design. I didn't have to do anything else. And I just started pouring content into it when I really started to see results and started just to get more comfortable with my lifestyle and how things were working.
Yeah, I mean, it's so sad when you hear all of the people that are so scared to jump forward and move into this kind of business because of all these technical constraints, and they think that all this stuff is important. And maybe it is. I don't know. I could be probably maybe I would get a lot more traffic if I have a much better design. But it's just like, don't let that stuff hold you back. Like, it's so easy to get a WordPress site up. Many web hosts have a one-click button, and then you install the Thesis theme or Catalyst, or there's a lot of free themes as well, and your site can look fine. And it's the voice behind, it's the words on the page, it's the relationships, it's the connections that you make that really sustain and grow your audience from version to version over time.
Yeah, absolutely. I could not agree more. Now I have just a couple more questions before we finish up. And Fraser, so far this has just been awesome. So thank you for all your wisdom and information. Now you obviously have a ton of traffic and you have, huge spikes here and there. What posts that you publish are some of your most popular posts, or what sort of patterns are you seeing with the types of posts that you're publishing that seem to just draw the most attention?
Well, the stuff that works best for us, the stuff that'll go really, really viral are there's two kinds of things. One is that if we can get our hands on a really amazing video or image that maybe no one else has really found yet, and we can get it first. I mean, I really love, there's some great time-lapse stuff. Did you ever see that time-lapse where there was the Earth it was from the space station, and you could see the Earth underneath. You could see these thunderstorms on the planet. I don't know if you saw that. Yeah. Well, I mean, we actually broke that story. The guy who created that animation emailed me and said, "Hey, check out this thing I've just done." And I'm like, "Oh, I've got to put this on the blog right now." And I think he ended up getting 5 million views on YouTube for it.
That's crazy.
And we were able to sort of trace it back to us being the first people that posted it. So I'm always on the hunt for that kind of stuff because it has such a high viral capability.
Right.
And then the stuff that I really like is to find the really interesting research that nobody else is really talking about. Nobody else really has uncovered yet, but really hits a lot of hot buttons all at the same time. That it's involving black holes and time travel and warp drives, and has the possibility of like what would it be like if we tried to communicate with aliens, and especially when it's like real research that people are doing that merges these various genres together. I find does really, really well, and we focus on that. So
how do you find that stuff though? It seems like you have to just know people.
Well, yeah, it is a complicated job, and it's getting even more complicated. And you're absolutely right that you need to build sources. I mean, you have to be a journalist. I have whenever I see a story that I missed, then I always chase it back to the source, and then I incorporate that source into my feeds. So I use an RSS reader to actually sort of keep track of all of the sources that I'm watching. Mm-hmm. And, it probably builds up. It probably has about 500 to 1,000 feeds in it.
Wow.
And, I have YouTube channel. I've sort of hacked, if this, then that, scripts together, mm-hmm. filters, things like that. And I've got it all sort of pouring into this one location. And so I never make that mistake twice, right? If someone's scooped me on a story, I'll find their source, then I'll incorporate their source into my list of feeds. And then I next time around when I see that thing, I'll be like, oh, I'm going to get on this right away. So, journalists, the more you work in this industry, in any industry that has news, you realize that everyone's getting their news from the same source. And that's why you might read it in the newspaper at the same time that you see it on the television, and you're seeing it on the blogs as well. Or you might see it, the same story posted 5 times to Reddit, is because it's coming from one location. Mm-hmm. And you can get right back to that location, and you can report on the news as well as any journalist.
Interesting. Now, just to finish up, I want to ask you, do you work from home? And if you do, just as far as working on this full time, what do you enjoy most about it?
Well, I do work from home. I'm at my kitchen table right now. The kids are at school. So, and that's a big part of it is I love that you can work from home. You can wear whatever you want. You can work whatever hours you want. I love that you're rewarded for your cleverness, not for the amount of hours that you spend.
Yes.
And I love the fact that I can work with the kind of people that I want. I mean, I've built the dream office with a virtual water cooler. And so, Corbett Barr, for example, I'll reach out to him and throw some ideas past him. And he's, a really smart guy that you can talk to. There's a guy named Gary Arndt who does everything Everything Everywhere. I don't know if he's a travel blogger, really smart guy. And he's, sometimes he's in the Dominican Republic and other times he's in Australia. And you can kind of reach out and talk to him. My co-host for Astronomy Cast, Dr. Pamela Gage, who's a PhD astrophysicist. So I'm able to sort of connect with all these people and run ideas past them, and I really enjoy that, building this virtual community of people. And I feel really sad, for the people who get into this business and they value their privacy or they value their anonymity, and they don't reach out to other people and really engage with the communities that are already there, that they're really hampering their future growth. And so, I mean, I think the one thing though that's really important to understand is that I don't see this industry as passive, and that's where I think I have a bone to pick with your whole philosophy, is that it's all these things, but it's not passive. I work hard, and anyone I know works really, really hard, and the money that we make does show up. The work I'm doing today is going to pay me a year, 2 years down the road, and hopefully for a long period of time. But if I ever took my foot off the accelerator, things would start to dry up again. And when I think about the changes that have happened, Google, again, only barely existed 10 years ago. Facebook only existed 5 years ago. That everything is changing, and it's changing faster and faster and faster. And I just find, for me anyway, and maybe I'm not that organized or clever about it, I need to stay in it, and I need to keep changing and improving and building. So.
Yeah, no, well said. I mean, different industries call for different amounts of time, and that, I work really hard too, but I think the whole idea behind what I'm teaching is the fact that you can invest your time now for things that'll continually pay you off in the future. But it's not, and I drill this into people's heads, especially in my monthly income reports, the fact that it takes a lot of work, and you do have to upkeep these things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's not about sitting, putting a bunch of content into a website, optimizing it for whatever, for search, and then laying it on a beach and enjoying the residual income for the rest of your life. Like, I don't think that's possible. Mm-hmm. Unless you buy real estate or something, I'm not sure, with your proceeds.
Well, but even that's not passive.
Even that's not passive either, right? So that's all. And I think that once you get past that, and once you can appreciate all of these other things, the fact that you can meet people that you like, and I get to watch, I get to meet astronauts and watch space shuttles launch, and that's all great, And that's what life should really be about, is getting a chance to do what you love, being able to have time for your family, and being able to hang out with your kids. That's what it's all about.
Awesome, Fraser. Way to close it up. That was perfect. So, thank you so much for your time on the show today. If people want to learn more about you, where should they go?
Sure. So the main website is universetoday.com, and that's where we post all of the space news. I also do a weekly astronomy podcast called Astronomy Cast, which is a lot of fun. And then the keyword tool that I mentioned, that's at keywordstrategy.org. And I blog more there about the webmastering and traffic and things like that.
Very cool. I'll make sure to include those links in the show notes. And I hope we can connect again in the future. And I wish you and Universe Today even more success.
Well, thank you very much. You too.
All right. Take care. Thanks.
All right. Bye.
Bye. Awesome. I hope you enjoyed that interview with Fraser Cain from universetoday.com. I'm definitely into space, and although I'm not a huge geek when it comes to astronomy, I'm definitely fascinated by it, and I'll tell you, I've spent a number of hours on Fraser's site since this interview. It's just so interesting to think about what's out there, and here I am in my room, in my office on Earth, recording this podcast. Crazy. All right. As always, you can pick up the show notes at smartpassiveincome.com/session40, no spaces. See what I did there? No spaces. I'm sorry. I guess I'm still recovering from Blog World Expo. My jokes aren't usually this bad. Anywho, thanks again for your support. If you haven't done so already, please join the Facebook community and come say hello. You can go to patonfacebook.com and like the page from there. During this recording, we're up to over 22,000 fans, and we're all having a blast. So just come and check it out. And I'm excited to get the recording of my presentation from Blog World Expo up for you in the next session. So until then, please enjoy life, be happy, and make other people happy too. And if you can, get paid for doing it. So cheers, all the best, and peace.
Thanks for listening to the Smart Passive Income Podcast at www.smartpassiveincome.com.
Hey, fellow podcaster, does this sound like something you've experienced? You record your podcast episode on one platform, download the files, edit in another app, then fire up a different tool just to create these social clips. Well, it can be clunky, time-consuming, and frankly overwhelming, especially for creators trying to grow. And that's why I'm excited to tell you about Riverside. Riverside is the all-in-one platform. Record, edit, and repurpose your podcast content all in one place. You just log in, record with your guests no matter where you are in the world, and just like that, studio-quality audio and high-resolution video. We use Riverside here at SPI as well now. With built-in AI, I can automatically clean up my audio, saving myself so much editing time, and it can even auto-generate clips to make promoting the show a breeze. And with Magic Clips, I can grab the best moments and repurpose them as short-form video, perfect for YouTube Shorts, TikTok, or Instagram, without re-recording a thing. So if you're tired of juggling tools and want a faster, simpler way to create and scale your content, it's time to try Riverside, built by creators for creators. Just go to smartpassiveincome.com/Riverside and use code SMART to get 1 month free on the Pro plan. That's smartpassiveincome.com/Riverside, promo code SMART. I get it. You want to grow your business, but selling at scale feels overwhelming. You're drowning in complicated funnels, creating different lead magnets, or constantly posting on social media. And that gets exhausting fast, especially when you're trying to sell to hundreds or thousands of people. But what if you could sell at scale with a simple, powerful quiz? A score app quiz or assessment asks your audience key questions and gives them instant personalized results based on their answers. Your audience gets to know where they are now and shows them the steps they need to hit their goals. You can set up a quiz in minutes using Score App's templates and have a powerful lead magnet that'll do the selling for you. The best part is your audience actually wants to take this quiz, and you build huge amounts of trust before you even make a single offer. No hard sales, no chasing leads, just value at scale. Get 50% off the first 3 months using the discount code SPI. Just head to scoreapp.com/SPI. Again, that's scoreapp.com/SPI.